Hey there, everyone. I'm meteorologist Cassie Nall, and this is your 10 Weather Impact Recap for the week. Let's start with a look at some of the top weather stories. Recovery efforts continue in central Texas after catastrophic flooding on July 4th killed at least 130 people. The governor of Texas says the search won't stop until they find every missing person. Unfortunately, additional heavy rain has caused more flooding in the Lone Star State and, at times, hampered response efforts. The Central Texas flash flood event is the deadliest in the U.S. in more than 50 years. Whenever weather disasters happen, people tend to look for someone or something to blame, and misinformation spreads quickly, especially on social media. Let's address a couple of the most popular topics that have been discussed since the Texas flooding. The National Weather Service office in Austin, San Antonio did issue timely alerts. The most unfortunate part of this event was that it happened at night when most people were sleeping. The NWS was also properly staffed that evening. Yes, the Austin San Antonio office is currently understaffed, but they adjusted their schedules and had 5 meteorologists on shift the night of the flooding. Normally, they would have only had 2 people working at that time. And cloud seeding did not cause the Texas floods. Yes, cloud seeding is real, and it's been around for decades, but the benefits of that technology are unproven. It is typically conducted during the winter months and in western states to enhance snowfall and increase water supplies. At best, it can only increase rainfall by about 10 to 20% and is not the reason behind extreme weather events. In Oklahoma City, police are working to determine if an attack on a television station's weather radar is tied to online threats and conspiracy theories. Dylan Brown reports.
To think that these massive radars are somehow controlling the weather, officials say is ridiculous, and they say it could be dangerous, and they're aware of the threats made on social media.
It started with the chemtrails and then it moved into Hurricane Helene.
Conspiracies pick up steam after major weather events. A Metro News station's weather radar attacked this week, going offline briefly. Threats have come from a far-right extremist group called Veterans on Patrol, the same group that pushed for border vigilantes. Its leader, Michael Lewis Arthur Meyer, who has been arrested several times in several states, posting online, "We intend to take as many NEXRADs offline as possible once our attack simulations have prepared us."
They sort of will grab on to conspiracy theories and they will make them sound credible to a portion of the population.
Rachel Goldwasser of the Southern Poverty Law Center has been tracking the group for years.
He's become very vehement against the military and its members, and I do think that that could pose a danger in the future as well.
They said Hurricane Helene was caused by government weapons.
The U.S. military placed God with the weather and sent weather weapon Helene into western North Carolina to depopulate and steal land.
That group's eyes now set on extreme weather events, calling weather radars weather weapons.
Yeah, that's impossible.
Sebastian Torres works with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. He says radars are essential to knowing when and where severe weather will hit. We're here at the National Weather Service's Norman location. This is the radar right here. Look at that massive thing. Here, they've got a fence. They've got barbed wire. They've even got this no trespassing sign, because if someone gets over and knocks this out at all, it could be a very serious situation for you and your loved ones.
You don't see it. There's nothing that can do to change things.
Well, they shouldn't believe it.
Dean Robert Palmer at OU is the director of the National Weather Center. Says he takes the threats seriously.
I mean, I've heard about it from our federal partners, and yeah, so we're being careful.
Police have not made an arrest directly connected to that radar attack in Oklahoma City. Texas isn't the only part of the lower 48 dealing with flash flooding. In a matter of hours, Tropical Depression Shawn caused major destruction in North Carolina earlier this month. This comes as communities continue to recover from the impacts of Helene. Now, North Carolina climatologists are studying the course of these storms. Heidi Kirk explains the changing weather patterns and why experts say people in the South should prepare for similar storms.
It's a storm that rolled in over a holiday weekend, breaking dams, cresting rivers, and flooding roads, homes, and businesses. It's also the type of storm that climatologists say North Carolinians may need to watch out for.
I think what we've learned from Chantal is that no matter how strong a storm is, what its winds look like, even what it's classified as, we can see this threat of heavy rain anywhere in the state from any sort of tropical system.
Climatologist Corey Davis says tropical systems are changing. In North Carolina, we're seeing more with characteristics of severe thunderstorms, dropping excessive rain in unexpected places.
So what was so surprising with this storm is that not only did it end up bringing big rainfall totals, but those totals came very far inland, hundreds of miles away from the coast, where even in some of our big hurricanes, we haven't really seen amounts like that.
Now, in the past, you may not have paid too much attention to any of these tropical systems, but Davis said now you might want to, knowing the type of damage that they can cause. WRAL meteorologist Kat Campbell says we've already surpassed the number of damage reports in the Triangle from last year.
Last year, we had 568 reports of damage. This year, we're only just over halfway through the year and we've already surpassed that number. We've had 574 reports of damage.
That's a trend that's being seen in other places. Just this week, Texas and New Mexico also recovering from damage caused by flooding. Shawn is just the latest to make its mark on our state.
According to NCDOT, at least 120 roads are still closed because of the flooding from Chantal. In New Mexico, the governor declared an emergency after severe flooding hit southern parts of the state last week. Heavy rain fell on burn scars from a fire that burned last year, causing debris and torrents of water to rush into populated areas. Rivers rose quickly, and video captured the moments when floodwaters swept away entire homes. Back here in East Tennessee, flash flooding can be a concern during heavy rain events, thanks to our hilly terrain and wide networks of rivers, creeks, and streams. Sarah Oppman looks back at the Little River flood of 1994, the worst flood on record in the Townsend community.
Townsend's Little River is usually a calm escape for tourists and locals, but it doesn't always stay that way. Back in 1994, this knee-deep water on the Little River was able to rise all the way up to the height of this bridge. That's nearly 8 feet above flood stage.
Going to Townsend?
Well, good.
Well, it's about 4 to 6 feet of water over the road, sir. You'll have to turn around.
Heavy rain from the Smokies sent water surging into the town. Homes were flooded, roads were destroyed.
The house that used to stand on this lot is now crushed against the house next door.
Park were completely blown out. There were a lot of businesses and homes with water in them here in Townsend.
Ian Rutter has guided on this river for nearly 30 years. He says the damage from 94 still marks many homes in the community.
Some of the homes there will have marks on their houses that shows how high the water got in 94, 2003.
Don Stallion's chief of the Townsend Area Volunteer Fire Department says the risk hasn't gone away.
All those homes along Old Wallen Highway, Old 73, there's a lot of homes, a lot of people that are still in harm's way if we get a flood like that.
Today, better monitoring and early warning systems help, but the mountains still control the river.
We can be like it is right now, sunshine and no rain, but if it's raining in the mountains, we can get to flood conditions that quickly.
Despite the danger, people here remain, drawn by the river's beauty.
People love it so much, they could really care less. They'll just come in, rebuild, start again.
The Little River still flows, peaceful for now. In Townsend, I'm Sarah Oppman.
Since 1994, officials have put up more safeguards into place, with electronic monitors gauging the river height every 15 minutes. First responders say newer radar and flood prediction models offer another layer of safety, and alerts and evacuation notices can now go directly to cell phones. From floods to fire, in Alaska, wildfires have scorched about 800,000 acres this season. Officials say 63 buildings have burned so far, 14 of those being homes. The largest fire is now in the mopping up phase, meaning that firefighters are checking for any remaining hotspots to prevent flare-ups. Alaska is offering support for those who lost their homes, including grants for families and temporary housing. In the desert Southwest, firefighters are struggling to gain control over 2 wildfires at the Grand Canyon. The Dragon Bravo fire has destroyed structures and shut down the North Rim for the season. And as of Tuesday, the White Sage fire was still burning with little to no containment. Steve Patterson reports from the South Rim of the Grand Canyon.
One of America's greatest natural treasures, besieged by flames. Nearly 60,000 acres now burned by the White Sage and Dragon Bravo fires. The Dragon Bravo fire began on July 4th along the canyon's north rim. Days later, the White Sage fire started 35 miles north, just outside of the park. That wildfire has now more than quadrupled in size, blackening nearly 50,000 acres.
Right now, we're in a very aggressive firefight. I want people to know that. We're in full suppression mode. We're throwing everything we got at it.
Lightning, the cause of both blazes. More than 70 structures destroyed, more than 500 evacuees.
It has been a trying week for everyone. We had approximately 50 employees who were evacuated from the North Rim this last weekend, and the loss is devastating. We lost a lot of our employee housing for the National Park Service.
Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs saying the fire was initially managed as a controlled burn that then spread out of control. She's wondering how this happened, saying on X, Arizonans deserve answers for how this fire was allowed to decimate the Grand Canyon National Park. Also lost, an iconic piece of American history.
When the smoke cleared, it's just you look where the North Rim Lodge should be, and it was gone.
Originally built in 1928, the Grand Canyon Lodge was the only lodging on the North Rim, a haven for travelers drawn to the North Rim's serenity and beauty. The lodge, located at the end of the road, the first breathtaking views of the canyon from the lodge itself. Destroyed by fire in 1932, the lodge was rebuilt with original stonework in 1936, where it stood as a National Historic Landmark until last Saturday.
What does it mean that it's gone?
It is a very special place. It has a totally different feeling than even the South Rim. We kind of refer to it here as the hidden gem of Grand Canyon.
And as for those traveling hundreds of miles to get a glimpse of the epic canyon,
what's it like to see it just covered in smoke?
It's very depressing.
Back here in East Tennessee, our weather has been a classic summertime pattern so far this month of July. Let's get a check of that 7-day forecast for you. And looking ahead, we've got more of the same on the way. Highs in the 90s each day, feeling like the mid to upper 90s to around the triple digits. And we'll have those daily chances of scattered showers and storms. So keep an eye on that radar if you've got those outdoor plans. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, you can always get the latest in the forecast with the 10 News app. It's free to download in the App Store.